Realization after a brush with death, I was the doomed white moonlight in a CEO novel. At the brink of death, I realized I was the fated to die early white moonlight in a sweet CEO romance. According to the plot, a year after my demise, a stand-in bearing a vague resemblance to me would appear by the side of the young heir to a tech empire. The world would weep for their love. But here's the kicker, I survived. 1. When the out-of-control semi-truck came barreling towards me, the excruciating pain I braced for never arrived. I lay in a pool of my own still-warm blood, images flashing through my fading consciousness like a film reel, scenes of my childhood sweetheart boyfriend blissfully in love with another girl. In that instant, it hit me with chilling clarity, my world was a novel. I was Alex Chen's destined, tragically short-lived white moonlight. In the original story, after my death, Alex would be shattered, drowning himself in alcohol and developing a severe stomach condition. A year later, on the anniversary of my passing, he'd suffer a sudden gastric attack while visiting my grave alone. Pale and weak, he'd collapse on the sidewalk, only to be rescued by the female lead who looked a bit like me. From there, they'd meet, connect. She'd unravel the knot in his heart tied to me, they'd fall in love, and finally hold a lavish, headline-making wedding. When I opened my eyes again, it was to blinding white light and the sharp sting of antiseptic in the air. I found myself covered in tubes and wires, immobilized in a hospital bed. Alex appeared before me in full medical isolation gear, only his eyes visible, deep-set eyes now bloodshot and filled with an anxiety, exhaustion, and fear I'd never seen before. His voice trembled with a suppressed sob. Anya. I almost lost you. Staring at this man who had always seemed invincible, now with moisture gathering in his eyes, a complex tide of emotion washed over me. If I lived, would his story with that destined girl still play out? After what felt like an eternity in the ICU, I was finally moved to a regular room. Alex essentially moved part of his office into my room, keeping vigil day and night. He changed the fresh flowers by my bedside himself every morning, filling the space with scent. He patiently learned to make nutritious broths, carefully fed me, brushed my hair. He'd always been like this throughout our years together, attentive to every detail. Now, he treated me like the most fragile treasure, cradled in his palms. I watched his focused profile, reaching out to trace his features as if in a dream. Alex and I grew up as neighbors on the Upper East Side, the Chens and the Schurs were old money friends. Most of the good memories from the first half of my life involved him. Yet, those original plot scenes in my mind, Alex gazing at that girl with indulgent, tender affection, refused to fade, wrenching my heart with a pain that stole my breath. Anya? What's wrong, Anya? His urgent voice pulled me back as he fumbled for tissues to wipe my cheeks. I only then realized I was crying. Alex, my voice came out muffled against his shoulder, would you ever do these things for someone else? He held me tighter, as if soothing a child. Feeling the steady, strong beat of his heart beneath my ear brought a sliver of peace. Don't be ridiculous. The future head of Chen Corp only bows for Miss Schur. I buried my face and closed my eyes. If only I could stop them from ever meeting. 2. I thought vigilance and caution could rewrite a predetermined fate. For the year after my discharge, I was Alex's shadow. I hired a top nutritionist, learning to prepare all sorts of gut-friendly meals, finding new ways to care for him. It was like I was clutching the joy of having him back from the brink, fiercely guarding this treasure I'd had to myself for over 2 decades. We seemed closer than ever, he treated me with a reverence bordering on devotion. I'd quietly used my connections to investigate that girl but found nothing. Until today, the day of their fated encounter in the original plot. I woke feeling foggy, my head pounding. Alex, breaking all habit, insisted on personally picking up my custom gown from Fifth Avenue. I suggested the boutique deliver it, but he gently refused. Before leaving, he pressed a deep kiss to my forehead. Anya, remember your meds, rest up. Wait for me for dinner. Standing by the penthouse's floor-to-ceiling windows, watching his retreating back, an inexplicable chill ran through me. I hugged my arms but felt cold to the bone. A crushing sense of dread threatened to swallow me. I grabbed a coat and chased after him. Seeing me, Alex's gaze softened with affection and concern. He pulled me into his arms as he always had, gently patting my back. "What's wrong, my little shadow?" After getting the dress, an urgent matter came up at the company, so I went with him to Chen Corp headquarters. I sat on his office couch, my eyes fixed on him as he worked. Noticing my stare, Alex chuckled, came over, and ruffled my hair. "Why so clingy today?" Curled on the sofa, leaning against the giant white teddy bear he'd given me, I said each word deliberately, keeping watch. "Afraid you'll run off." Helpless, he brought his laptop and settled beside me. He fetched me water, massaged my calves, even tucked my cool feet against his stomach to warm them. As the workday ended uneventfully, my tight nerves began to relax. I thought fortune favored me, but fate was just pausing for a sardonic smile. 3. That night, a high fever struck. My mind fogged, and I shivered uncontrollably in Alex's arms. He rushed me in a panic to the best private hospital in Manhattan. Regaining some awareness, I saw a petite, sweetly smiling girl standing beside Alex. Her. Alex's destined replacement female lead. Me, the white moonlight who should have died, lying in a hospital bed on and 4, felt a deafening buzz in my head. I watched Alex's lips move, saw them talking and laughing easily. In that moment, I finally felt the sheer, unstoppable weight of plot force. Before a set fate, we characters were ants. The girl was Mia Jones. She was at the hospital caring for her sick grandmother. When Alex carried me from the car, she noticed the stain on my pants from my unexpectedly arrived period and kindly stepped in to help. Bitterness flooded me. My period, 2 weeks late, had chosen today. A cruel twist. Mia was like a little sun, warm, bright. Even the usually cool, composed Alex seemed to have a touch of unusual warmth in his eyes when he looked at her. To express thanks, Alex upgraded Mia's grandmother to a VIP suite. Mia gave an embarrassed little shrug and a pure smile. Everything unfolded so naturally. My temples throbbed, my head swam. Cramps churned my stomach into nausea. I couldn't hold back a dry heave. 4. After that chance hospital meeting, Mia seemed to fade into a minor blip in our lives, leaving no trace. I still spent every day with Alex, not just tending to him but also leveraging the business acumen honed since childhood as the family heir to advise him on collaborations between Chen Corp and my family's Sheeta group. But gradually, I noticed changes. He sometimes missed my calls. Dinners at home became less frequent. He lost his former patience, would abruptly hang up on my video calls citing busy. Then came the day I caught a faint, foreign scent on him, a delicate, sweet note of camellia. The fervent love in my heart began to cool. The solid trust developed its first crack. During dinner that evening, he was distracted again, eyes darting to his silent phone. Finally, it rang. A woman's voice, indistinct but unmistakable in identity. Alex put down his fork. "Emergency at the office," he said, and left. I still refused to believe over 20 years couldn't withstand a so-called heaven-sent female lead. Driving to that hospital, I arrived just as Alex pulled a sobbing, heartbroken Mia into his arms. I knew then I couldn't keep this butterfly intent on flying away. I stood there until my heart turned to ash. Alex noticed me only when he turned. His body stiffened, the pity in his eyes shattered by a flood of panic. Watching him stumble toward me, I felt nothing but profound irony and turned to leave. 5. "Anya, let me explain." Alex grabbed my wrist, yanking me hard against his chest. Mia's grandmother died. She's all alone, had nowhere else to turn." His words came in a rush. I listened impassively to his chaotic heartbeat. That camellia scent wafted over, triggering physical revulsion. "CEO Chen, the philanthropist," I sneered. "So many people need help. Homeless folks on the streets. Gonna hug each one to warm them up too?" Alex's hand visibly trembled. I broke free and walked away. "Anya." He tried to stop me. Pent-up fury erupted. I turned and slapped him hard across the face. Disgust was unconcealed on mine. You disgust me. I saw the shock in his eyes, tears threatening to spill. The scene overlapped with that of a year ago. He was no longer the Alex who cried for me. Mia ran over, engulfed in sorrow, eyes swollen. She looked at me with a flicker of fear, but her tone was oddly resolute. Anya, you shouldn't have hit him. My cold gaze swept over her. I raised my hand and delivered another crisp slap to her face, cutting her off. I hadn't planned to confront her, but I'm no saint. I turned and left. Alex didn't follow. I finally understood, the romantic thread binding the male and female leads was unchangeable. Between Alex and me, I'd done my best. We were thoroughly done. By the time I got home, Alex hadn't even called. One text, Anya, you were too impulsive. Mia's nose bled. I'm helping her. Let's both cool off. I ignored it. Called my assistant to pack my essentials and moved into another penthouse I owned. Before leaving, I texted Alex, we're done. Cut losses, move on. 6. Alex contacted me again 3 days later. A string of messages, pleading to meet and talk. Hoping for a clean break, I agreed. My reflection was haggard. A bitter smile. Years of shared history, it hurt. But I knew cutting losses was wisest. We met at the French restaurant of our first official date. But seeing Mia beside him, my expression froze completely. Alex looked wrecked. Hair disheveled, dark stubble shadowing his jaw. Anya, you've misunderstood. There's really nothing between Mia and me. His brow was furrowed, eyes pained. Anya, it's all my fault. Please don't blame Alex. Mia bit her lip, putting on an impeccably innocent, pitiful act. Looking at the two sitting side by side, I found it laughable. Was the novel's pure little white flower really this? I knew exactly what they'd been up to. Whatever's between you two is none of my business, I said coldly to Alex. I'm here to state, from now on, neither I nor Sheeta Group has any ties to you or Chen Corporation. We keep to our own lanes. I leaned back slightly, tilting my chin toward Mia, sarcasm dripping. Miss Jones, freshly bereaved yet remarkably eager to be seen with someone else's ex. Such unique filial piety. As the words left me, Alex frowned subconsciously. Mia's eyes reddened further with exaggerated grievance. I stood and left without a backward glance. Behind me came Alex's urgent call and flustered footsteps. No doubt he'd received the reminder from his mother. I hadn't been idle. I'd gathered evidence of Alex and Mia's closeness, compiled it neatly, and delivered it to the Chen residents. Anya, stop this. Do your parents know? This time was my fault. Let's both cool down. Alex caught up outside, tone softer, the plea more genuine, but I still caught that faint impatience lurking deep within. Over 20 years of ties bound Alex and me, not just feelings, but the intricate web of business interests between two powerful families. Chen Corp was launching a crucial new project, desperately needing Sheeta's investment. Falling out now worried his parents more than him. My gaze shifted past Alex to Mia behind him. The innocence was gone, replaced by resentment and a hint of challenge, like a bristling creature. During Alex's radio silence, he'd been by the side of the grief-stricken, can't-eat Mia, personally cooking, feeding, being utterly attentive. His past promises now seemed like empty words. I didn't want further entanglement, but Alex's troubles were just beginning. Sure enough, that night I received a video from Mrs. Chen, Alex kneeling in the study of the family mansion, admitting his mistake. 7. I went back to our family home in Long Island and told my parents everything. Mom's eyes welled up instantly, Dad's face grew somber. They wanted to demand an explanation from the Chens, but I stopped them. According to the original plot, after my death, they'd be grief-stricken, Mom nearly crying herself blind. A year later, with Alex entangled with Mia, they'd resent it but say little. Only when Alex later wanted them to adopt Mia as a goddaughter would they snap and sever ties. Consequently, when Sheeta later faced crisis, Alex wouldn't just watch, he'd secretly make it worse, leading to bankruptcy and their eventual demise. And the root was likely this very Chen Corp project. If Sheeta invested too heavily, it would be devastated. I stepped into the family group's operations. My first move, full withdrawal from Chen Corp's new project. Without Sheeta's capital, Chen Corp's progress slowed to a crawl, nearly stalling. As long as I lived, I wouldn't let Alex suck the Shi family dry only to deliver a fatal stab later. Mr. and Mrs. Chen personally visited to mend fences. While I had no interest in deep talk, appearances mattered. Coincidentally, my cousin Stephen was back from Silicon Valley, and our new tech startup was at a critical phase. I used a meeting as an excuse for him to call me away. The Chens understood my stance, knew they were in the wrong, left disgruntled. Reportedly, they flew into a rage at home, even bypassing Alex to confront Mia directly. What happened is unknown. All that's known is Alex rushed back, had a huge fight with his parents, and left carrying a weeping Mia. Our social circles overlapped. News about them trickled in without seeking. I paid no mind. As long as they didn't threaten the Shi family, their antics were none of my concern. But of course, someone couldn't stand the silence. 8 months later, at a key government project bidding conference, I saw Alex again. Seville Rowe-tailored suit, still handsome and poised on the surface, even a touch of softness in his brow I'd never seen. This unconscious emotional display was rare during our time. And Mia was by his side as executive assistant to the CEO. I was prepared and determined to win. Chen Corp, however, was plagued with issues, several critical errors in Mia's bidding documents. Alex's previous chief assistant was a sharp Wharton graduate. What possessed him to let the inexperienced Mia handle this? Unexpectedly, during intermission, Mia sought me out. Ill-fitting business suit, trying for professional but looking fragile. Biting her lip, expression conflicted, Anya. I'm sorry. It's not what you think with Alex. Please don't judge us, don't sentence him without a chance. She looked up, eyes stubborn yet pleading. I showed no warmth. How I act isn't for you to judge. If I wanted him dead to me, I'd have cut ties upon waking knowing the plot. Even at their first meeting, I'd believed him. Mia, as if mustering great resolve, Anya, if I leave his side, could you give this bid back to him? It's so important for him, for Chen Corp. I almost laughed at the absurdity. Give it back? I won based on Sheeta's team's round-the-clock prep. If Alex valued this even a little, it wouldn't be this. And you, as an assistant, can't even handle basics. What right to set terms? Talk about others judging, look at your own actions. My scathing retort barely ended when the meeting room door was pushed open forcefully. Alex stood there, looking at me with disappointment. Anya, when did you become so mean-spirited? Seeing him, my heart still hitched, but a deeper anger drowned it out. Manage yourself and your assistant, Mr. Chen. A cold look, a turn, and I was gone. Mia's tearful defense came timely. Anya, how could you speak to Alex like that? Alex seemed instantly ignited, voice rising sharply. Sure, Anya. Must you be so extreme? You think Sheeta can stay prosperous without Chen Corp? I stopped, turned back, met his blazing eyes, caught the fleeting, almost triumphant glint in Mia's gaze. Feeling his loss of control, I doubted Chen Corp's future with an air like this. He used to be so steady, yet now he was so easily provoked. No one is indispensable, I said with a cold sneer. And you'd better hope Sheeta keeps sailing smoothly. If you dare move against the Shi family, I'll make your downfall 100 times more painful. Yet the very next day, several Sheeta competitors coincidentally obtained some non-core data about one of our factory lines. No major damage, but a clear warning. Alex hadn't taken my words to heart. Just as I pondered retaliation, I got an apology text from Mia. Anya, sorry. I gave the wrong file, caused Sheeta trouble. Please don't blame Alex. 9. Alex and Mia went public. For a time, the internet flooded with vitriol against Mia, calling her a homewrecker. Reportedly, Mia was cursed into depression, even having suicidal thoughts. Then came her suicide attempt by wrist slitting. Insiders said it was a superficial scratch. Alex panicked, rushed her to the hospital, attentive care. They poured hearts out, relationships cemented. Alex later clarified online they got together only after he and I formally broke up. As for me, I accidentally leaked videos/photos of him intimately accompanying Mia those days to Chen Corp's biggest rival. Their hired accounts were skilled, releasing material sans commentary, letting netizens speculate. Public opinion exploded. Chen Corp's stock plummeted. Looking at the sea of red, I felt cold calm. As the sure heiress, tracking an outsider like Mia was effortless. Since she schemed to climb, I didn't mind pushing her faster into the spotlight. I hired surveillance. Know your enemy. Mr. and Mrs. Chen were reportedly livid. They likely guessed it was me. After all, I'd sent them that evidence earlier, but since Alex had let Mia leak commercial secrets first, they had no choice but to swallow the loss in silence. 10. I increasingly found Mia's logic bizarre. She requested to see me again, sitting across, spouting bewildering things. Anya, I know you're unwilling. Alex chose me, head bowed, near tears, but you can't intentionally retaliate, sabotage his career, right? My silence was deafening. Taking it as encouragement, she continued, Anya, maybe you don't know, Alex told me being with you, he always felt you were too strong, not gentle enough. So what if you're a wealthy heiress? In the end, the one by his side is me. A slight smile. The mask of pure innocence shattered, her eyes now brimming with defiance. Exhausted from busyness, watching her act stirred irritation. Mia, how long will you keep this up? My voice rose. A gleam of triumph flashed in Mia's eyes before feigned fear/grievance. As if frightened, she fell to the floor, crying, Anya, sorry. My fault. I shouldn't be with Alex. I'll leave him, please forgive me. Her gaze flickered almost imperceptibly behind me. I looked, understood, someone filming. After her solo act, seeing me unmoved, she got up and left indignantly. Once the filmer also left, a figure sat opposite. Got it all? I asked casually, picking my nails. Rest assured, 4K, multi-angle. My personal assistant, who also served as my security consultant, raised an eyebrow. As soon as I received Mia's invitation, I had prepared thoroughly. Her kind of low-level tactic, I'd seen through it long ago in my youth. Sure enough, an edited video soon began circulating online. In it, I was portrayed as the hysterical, bullying, vicious ex-girlfriend, while Mia was cast as the long-suffering, pitiful little white flower, garnering waves of sympathy and even rallying a group of Protect Mia fans. The few rational voices that tried to defend me were instantly drowned out. Still, this online noise meant little to me. As long as it didn't affect Sheeta's actual operations, I was content to let it spread. When Alex called from a new number to demand explanation, I'd just fallen asleep. Being woken ignited murderous rage. Since they had so much free time, I'd create real crisis. 11. After our unpleasant meet, Mia seemed in prolonged low spirits. This broke Alex's heart. He went to extraordinary lengths, attempting to cook for her himself, with disastrous results, throwing her a private fireworks display in the Hamptons, and even floating the idea of buying an island to name in her honor. While Alex was fully immersed in his CEO and doting husband fantasy, neglecting the company for nearly half a month, internal turmoil began to brew. A crucial, long-standing European client had been waiting a full week for Alex to finalize a major deal. Seeing that the timing was ripe, I had someone inadvertently leak to the famously punctual German client that Alex had repeatedly postponed their meetings to be with his girlfriend. The client, left hanging and furious, terminated the partnership negotiations. Worse, Alex's extravagant spending to please beloved already strained group's cash flow. Losing biggest client caused crack in Chen Corp's financial chain, spreading internal panic. Mr. Chen, though gradually handing over power, still trusted Sun deeply. By the time he sensed trouble, Chen Corp was already in significant crisis. Meanwhile, upon learning of the German client's decision, I immediately flew to Munich with my top team. With utmost sincerity and Shida's solid track record, I presented a more favorable cooperation proposal. After negotiations, we successfully secured this prize. Looking at the signed contract brought a deep sense of satisfaction. It had become almost a rule now, whenever Alex encountered Mia, his IQ seemed to plummet. Mr. Chen was furious and urgently recalled Alex. Faced with the mess he had created through his own reckless actions, Alex was overwhelmed and scrambling. His first reaction? Storming into my office in a rage. Eyes bloodshot, leaning over my desk with veins bulging, he snarled, "Sure, Anya. Stealing Chen Corp's client? I never knew you had such capabilities." I sat calmly, legs crossed, giving him a cold, disdainful look as I watched the apologetic security staff behind him. "Mr. Chen, you're the one who left a client waiting for a week to be with your girlfriend. Instead of venting here, you should focus on cleaning up your own mess." With such an heir, Chen Corp's future looked bleak. 12. Chen Corp's crisis was resolved unexpectedly. Mr. Chen's illegitimate son from an earlier affair, Liam Chen, made a highly publicized return, backed by substantial Silicon Valley venture capital funds and cutting-edge technology client resources. While Mr. Chen was exhausted and overwhelmed, Liam demonstrated remarkable business acumen and decisiveness, swiftly stabilizing the teetering Chen Corp. Decisive and capable, Liam stood in stark contrast to Alex, who was blinded by love and neglectful of his duties. Mr. Chen's attitude shifted rapidly in Liam's favor. Soon after, Mr. Chen formally and publicly acknowledged Liam's status, granting him a key position within the company. Internal reshuffling and realignments followed, and Liam's prestige and influence grew daily. When Alex returned after a month of carefree indulgence with Mia, he found the company utterly transformed. His past decisions were frequently challenged, and he was constantly outmaneuvered by Liam's faction. As Liam demonstrated business talent, Mr. Chen gradually transferred core operations to him. Alex's standing within Chen Corp plummeted. At celebratory banquet for Liam's formal appointment as Group CEO, I held champagne flute, met him on terrace. He adjusted gold-rimmed glasses, smiling warmly. "Anya, I owe you thanks for this." I clinked glasses, slight smile. "Congratulations, Liam. You earned this with your own capability. Family secrets in wealthy circles never scarce." Liam, though illegitimate, highly gifted, had been seeking opportunity. Alex was undisputed heir, especially with perceived future alliance with your family through marriage, making position seem unshakable. But he forgot that heirs are replaceable, especially when their actions threaten the family's core interests. I merely offered Liam some well-timed hints and conveniences, e.g., having few friends mention within Mia's earshot the romantic gestures Alex made for me in past. Or, making timely strategic investments in several promising emerging tech projects Liam eyed. The rest was observing. Liam, ambitious/capable, naturally seized opportunity. 13. Mia ventured into Hollywood. Admittedly, she had some photogenic appeal. Earlier online storm gave her considerable notoriety. Riding wave, she landed cameo roles in 2 popular series via Alex's dwindling connections, receiving surprisingly decent feedback. Before Alex was recalled by father, she'd just signed as female lead in low-budget romance film. After Rap, with promotional efforts, she made small ripples in industry. She tried to meet me again. I refused directly. Her every step almost within expectations. In original novel, female lead would also enter entertainment industry, retire at peak, leaving few works as White Moonlight in fans' hearts. She called, undeterred. "Anya, why must you always target me? Can't have Alex, so want to destroy everything he has?" Tone mixed resentment with hint of smugness. "But look, I'm doing just fine now." I didn't understand her inexplicable hostility, finding her naivety almost laughable. "Mia, it's unwise to celebrate victory before the game is over," I stated flatly before hanging up and turning my attention back to my emails. 14. Word was Mia wasn't happy lately. The cause? Mr. and Mrs. Chen still refused to acknowledge her. She complained to Alex, who simply told her to be patient. Accustomed to being indulged, she began to act out. This time, however, the overwhelmed and distracted Alex did not pacify her as he usually would. Perhaps believing her prospects in entertainment meant no longer needing to rely entirely on Alex, attitude hardened. Reality soon delivered heavy blow. Public opinion reversed instantly. Mia's carefully crafted innocent persona completely shattered, with labels like schemer and homewrecker now firmly attached to her name. Netizens even dug up earlier questionable timelines regarding the start of her relationship with Alex. Her starry-eyed dream was shattered before it had even truly begun. Alex, still clinging to some lingering affection, used his remaining influence to suppress the trending searches, but Mia's path in the entertainment industry had effectively been blocked. 15. I hadn't expected Mia would set sights on Liam. During a routine chat after our business meeting, Liam mentioned that Mia had tried to approach him, his tone dripping with disdain. Seeing Alex's fall from grace, she had likely sought another powerful figure to cling to. One evening, she repeated her old trick, tearfully knocking on Liam's hotel suite door, using the excuse of rescuing stray animals as a pretext for seeking help. Liam saw through her act immediately and had security escort her away without ceremony. Hearing this, I found it absurd. Liam had clawed his way up from the very bottom and had seen every shade of human darkness. Mia's little white flower act only worked on a greenhouse-grown young master like Alex. While discussing with Liam, didn't notice Alex had appeared in shadows behind at some point. His face was ashen, eyes filled with pain, disbelief, and profound dejection. Liam leaned back comfortably on the sofa, observing his half-brother's downcast state. I instantly understood he had let Alex overhear the conversation on purpose. Alex looked at me with a complex gaze holding too many indescribable emotions, then turned and stumbled away without a word. Anya, just thought he should know truth, Liam shrugged, expression innocent. I sighed softly, said no more. From then on, Alex sank deeper into despair, drinking heavily daily. With no one at Chen Mansion giving Mia any regard, seeing no further advantage, she simply broke up with Alex, took settlement, vanished. 16. Last time I saw Alex was in hospital. After losing Mia, spirits plummeted further. One night, driving sports car drunk, crashed severely, resulting in amputation of right leg. Standing outside the hospital room, looking at the pale, gloomy, seemingly lifeless man in the bed, my heart was a mix of complicated emotions. He had tried calling me before, but I hadn't answered. His father didn't visit. His mother, disillusioned after Liam took over, had embarked on a world tour, unwilling to face the mess. The radiant Alex I once knew, this broken, dejected figure before me, and the man utterly lost over Mia. Which one was real? The era of Alex, the crown prince of Chen Corp, had come to a definitive end. Just as I prepared to leave, the phone in Alex's room rang. It was Mia. She'd been recognized online, surrounded and attacked by aggressive netizens, and was injured. The police asked her to contact family or friends. With nowhere else to turn, she had called Alex. When Mia was sent to hospital, there was long wound on left cheek. I didn't linger any longer. Turning, I left the hospital, feeling completely and utterly relieved. From now on, sky high, I free to fly. The script of Anya's life? I'll write it myself.